Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Sandeep Srikanth, and if you spent any time near India in the past week, you'll know that the union budget happened this Thursday.
What? Budget?
What?
Union?
I know. When did that happen? Thursday? Did you say?
Okay, the budget happened this Thursday and it had a lot of implications for the auto industry. And joining me to talk more about that are Bert D'Souza, editor of Overdrive, and Shobhabrata Marmar, executive editor of Overdrive. Bertie, first to you. SUVs are big, expensive, difficult to park, and therefore more excise duty on SUVs.
Well, I'll agree with the finance minister that SUVs are definitely are more difficult to park, but do they occupy a lot more space? Well, take into context that for every SUV that we sell in India, there are probably about 15 hatchbacks, probably about 20 hatchbacks and sedans altogether. So does it really matter where, instead of one SUV on the road, there are about 20 cars fighting for that same amount of space?
And especially now that the compact SUVs as a segment are doing really well, so how is this going to impact the likes of Renault, Mahindra and Ford, who are going to have the EcoSport coming in very soon?
Well, it is going to impact all of these manufacturers. Mahindra, well, a large part of their portfolio is SUVs. There's no denying that a lot of their customers are going to get affected by the price hikes that will come up in the future. Ford is coming out of the EcoSport very shortly, within a month or two. That SUV will be out in the market, and they definitely are going to get affected. Prices may increase probably as an introductory offer, and then Ford might just maintain a status quo on that. But later on, prices will definitely increase for the EcoSport. And then later on in the year, we also got Maruti coming out of an SUV, so that could also be affected.
Okay, moving on to the next big topic, which was of course the fact that CBU cars, big expensive cars, are going to cost more now. The import duties, the customs duty rather, is up from 75% to a full 100%. But really, how much of an impact does that have?
Well, it's inconsequential at the end of the day, because the premium car market, for that matter, constitutes about just 1% of total automobile sales in India. So what exactly is the finance minister going to try and achieve out of this? I'm not entirely sure.
Is it then just a case of forcing manufacturers to set up manufacturing facilities?
I don't think so either, because if they had to do it, they probably had done it 5 or 6 years ago when they actually came down to India, set up shop over here. But right now, trying to force manufacturers into doing this, like I said, 1% of the total car sales in India. So is a manufacturer going to invest that much more to sort of start up a manufacturing assembly or a CKD operation here in India? I don't think so. It doesn't make sense. The numbers don't justify it.
And I'll add to that if you want to do that kind of thing and get manufacturers to set up plant here, then you have to raise the duties much more dramatically so the economics of it change. 15% is not going to make a difference. If the duty went up by 200% this time, a lot of guys would think, yeah, maybe I need to start making the car here. But for 15% more, that's a press release and sticker shock.
And staying with customs duty for the moment, the other big news on that front was, of course, motorcycles above 800cc. The duty is now up from 60% to 75%. And Shumi, first question to you, 800cc, where did that come in?
Yeah, well, it's an unfortunate coincidence that number exists and it's part of our structure now, so you can't really ignore it. But the real implication of the budget for that is that all 65 or 70 people who actually do buy a big 800cc plus imported motorcycle every month are going to spend a small amount of money more in the showroom, and that somehow is going to make a massive difference to the amount of money the government is earning. I don't understand it. It's just bad feelings as far as I'm concerned. The primary business affected would be something like Harley Davidson. They do have a substantial big motorcycle business, but even there, they do a lot of CKD motorcycles that come out of their Haryana plant. And all that happens is in the showroom, what is directly imported becomes more expensive compared to the other motorcycles. So you're more likely to end up buying something that was assembled in India. Big difference? Not really. Big difference in structure, plan, trend? Not really, no, it makes no difference. Suzuki in fact announced that they will absorb the tax difference for now, and the CBU prices will not change, which affects all of their 44 motorcycles that go out every month. I mean, we are talking about ridiculously small numbers in what is going to become the world's largest two-wheeler market. I have no idea what this was supposed to achieve.
And Bert, now the other thing is that, of course, the sops for the green cars still remain, battery technology and all of that. You do get a lot of benefits.
Yes, there are. The concessions have been extended till 2015 March for battery technology largely. That's iron lithium cells, but India is not a big investor in that technology in any case. A lot of this technology either comes from China or it comes from Europe or South America for that matter. So there isn't a lot of movement over here. What could have been encouraging is to see actual cars, the hybrid and electric cars, and some sort of a SOP for sales in India. Mahindra Reva being one of the biggest propagators of that technology on of those cars. But well, there really isn't anything. At the least, we could have some infrastructure development happening for that. But again, nothing of that sort is happening as well. So where is the logic behind all of it?
Yeah, basically, we are not a country that has excess power in any case. How are we going to charge these electric cars even if we had SOPs? So if the finance minister really wanted the electric car market to have boost and fillip, maybe there should have been a provision to make more power plants. Maybe that would have helped. But having the duties continue for hybrids and lithium batteries, like the rest of the budget, I don't know what it means.
And talking of infrastructure now, also there's going to be a roadways regulatory authority. Some impact from that. We may get some better roads.
Well, we can definitely hope for better roads. We do know that infrastructure has to be raised up. The level has to be raised up considerably. But let's look at the scenario. Last year, just about 60,000 kilometers of roads were supposed to be commissioned in India, or rather executed in India, but close to about just 9,000 or something odd like that got done at the end of the day. So what are we talking about? I mean, I hope this regulatory body actually makes sure that quality and quantity both come into effect very strongly, especially if you want to see the market growing, because with the number of cars that you're putting out on the roads, well, the roads just don't support it. So yes, I do hope that that comes out in a very focused manner.
And some good news for the commercial vehicles sector as well, in terms of just 10,000 more buses under that JRUMM scheme?
Yeah, it's a fantastic scheme, especially for north of India, where about 10,000 buses will come on the roads over the next few years. So the CV segment at least will see a lot of spurt, will see some brightness at the end of the day. It's probably the only segment that will see some growth. But again, until and unless this extends down to the south, because the south is another region which also needs that kind of support from the center, but I don't see that happening. Nevertheless, 10,000 buses coming on our roads, C segment, definitely a welcome break.
Anything
yeah, but I'd like to point out that buses are a good idea, but they are above 170 millimeters of ground clearance. They are more than 4 meters length in most cases. Their engines are bigger than 1500 cc. They are hard to park. They do take up more space. We need to think about this, really.
All right, anything I've missed out, gentlemen? Anything you want to add?
Well, SUVs, again, let me just come back to that. The definition of SUVs, you're not entirely sure right now if it covers just SUVs or does that also include MUVs, because there are several manufacturers who are looking at expanding the MUV portfolio also, and well, the MUV portfolio also is about 170 mm.
There are exemptions for taxi registered SUVs.
Well, who really registers SUVs as taxis, which is what I said. The confusion is whether it's an SUV or it's an MUV. What this will also raise is another segment, because not a lot of SUVs will now start calling themselves SUVs. They will go by the crossover, So there's some more confusion in the definition over there, because a lot of them essentially are crossovers, they're not necessarily SUVs. So yeah, there's going to be some amount of confusion in the market there.
The other thing you can do, and I think this is the best idea of the whole lot, is make small sports cars. Okay, really small, really light, very, very ground hugging, so you don't fall foul of the ground clearance problem, the length problem, and because it's small and light, you can have a small engine.
And if you find a pothole, pick it up, carry it over the pothole.
That's where road regulatory authority comes in.
There's a good idea.
Make sure that the roads are safe and smooth.
Bert, Shumi, thank you so much for joining me.